civilization is gone, you're left with a choice. Resurrect Einstein and Tesla, who definitely won't ask for the Wi-Fi password, or let ChatGPT run the whole dunya. Which option is the real apocalypse?
Welcome, dear viewers, to the absolute worst day in history. The world has ended, not with a bang, but apparently with a very confusing whimper, leaving behind 6 extremely ordinary people. Let's call them Gary and the Five. Their mission? Rebuild civilization. But there's a catch, a glorious, deeply philosophical and utterly ridiculous choice. To guide these survivors, we get one magic cheat code. Option A or option B? Which one is it? This isn't just a fun thought experiment. This is the true measure of human progress. And honestly, Annie, this decision gives me serious anxiety.
We bring back the greatest minds humanity ever produced. Think Einstein, who warped our understanding of space and time in the early 20th century. Think Nikola Tesla, the master of alternating current, dreaming of a global power grid. Add Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, Marie Curie, the whole superstar lineup. A full cohort of historical intellectual heavyweights, complete with their historical baggage and powdered wigs perhaps. They have the knowledge, they have the wisdom, they have the ego. But do they have the necessary tools for starting from absolute zero?
Option 2. We keep one leading contemporary AI model, let's say a generative pre-trained transformer, running on a server that somehow survived the global destruction. This AI possesses the accumulated knowledge of the entire pre-apocalypse internet, ready to spew out instructions on metallurgy, agriculture, and sanitation in 75 languages. It's a vast ocean of information, available instantly. It's logical, it's tireless, and it doesn't need to argue about the merits of classical music. But is information enough without intuition or the sheer grit of human trial and error? Let's dive deep into why this choice is both impossible and hilarious.
Let's start with the geniuses. Imagine Tesla appearing, glowing with brilliant ideas about harnessing remote power. Brilliant! Except he needs specialized copper wiring, high-grade insulators, massive quantities of refined steel, and manufacturing plants that require other manufacturing plants to build. Tesla's genius in the late 19th and early 20th centuries was built upon an existing industrial base. His knowledge is advanced, but useless if Gary and the Five only have mud and sticks. Asking Tesla to start with iron ore extraction is like asking a brain surgeon to invent the scalpel first. It's highly inefficient, Khayi.
Now, bring in Einstein. His theories of relativity, 1905 and 1915, fundamentally changed physics. But what does Gary need? He needs to know how to filter water and kill tuberculosis. Einstein, bless his soul, is probably going to spend the first 5 years trying to prove that his post-apocalyptic wristwatch runs slower than the gravitational field of a really big rock. Important? Absolutely. Relevant to immediate survival? Not even remotely. His breakthroughs are built on layers of pre-existing highly precise instrumentation that simply vanished. We need 18th century practical engineering, not 20th century theoretical cosmology. Perhaps we need someone earlier, someone more hands-on. Let's summon Archimedes. 3rd century BC. This guy invented war machines using levers and optics. He's much closer to the stick-and-string reality of the New World. But even his foundational mathematics and physics, while brilliant, predate the systematic approach of the scientific revolution. He'll get us rolling the stone uphill, literally. But imagine the arguments. A Renaissance man like Da Vinci and Archimedes trying to reconcile their differing views on mechanics and geometry. It's a drama, not a blueprint for rebuilding a power grid.
A core problem with the genius option is context dependency. Scientific knowledge is cumulative. These historical figures were masters of their eras, but they lack crucial modern fundamental knowledge that is now ingrained in even a basic high school syllabus.
None of them, for instance, knew about DNA structure, discovered in 1953, or modern germ theory, established mid-19th century. They would spend decades relearning basic medical principles that the AI knows in a fraction of a second. That's a huge temporal bottleneck when survival is measured in weeks.
And let's not forget the human element. The greatest geniuses are often characterized by staggering egos. Can you imagine getting Einstein, Newton, and Tesla to agree on who gets to run the primitive smelter? Newton was notoriously prickly. This assembly of intellectual superstars would spend more time arguing about the proper nomenclature for post-apocalyptic dirt than actually building anything. They provide brilliant insight, but zero unity. Humanity needs management and collaboration first. Deep thinking comes later. It's chaos, yallah. Absolute chaos.
So while the genius option provides profound wisdom, groundbreaking theory, and certainly excellent dinner conversation, it's fundamentally too slow, too contextual, and too prone to internal squabbling for a rapid rebuild. We are starting from the Stone Age, maybe slightly better than that, and we need blueprints for basic infrastructure immediately, not a theoretical framework for faster-than-light travel. They are great for refining civilization, but terrible for initiating it from scratch. We need actionable data, not just theoretical potential.
Now, let's consider the AI. This is a model trained on petabytes of human data. It doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. It has the optimized CAD design for the wheel, the manufacturing process, the supply chain management, and the projected consumer demand for post-apocalyptic artisanal wheels. It contains the history of industrial civilization, meticulously organized. It can instantly generate step-by-step instructions for everything, from the production of penicillin, 1928 Fleming, to the construction of a basic nuclear reactor, though maybe skip that last one for now, Gary.
The AI's greatest asset is speed and optimization. It bypasses the entire messy human process of discovery, which took millennia. It doesn't need to try 50,000 different alloys to find the best one for a simple hinge. It already knows the molecular structure required and can tell Gary exactly what combination of localized raw materials to use for a tolerable substitute. It is a tireless, objective librarian of human achievement. It removes error through optimization, allowing rapid scaling of necessary technology like sanitation and basic power generation, which are critical for early survival.
But the AI isn't perfect. Far from it. Today's AI models are pattern-matching engines. They lack true intuition, genuine creativity, or the ability to make leaps of faith, the very things that define the great geniuses. If the required raw materials are unavailable, the AI might get stuck in an optimization loop, unable to creatively substitute a totally novel material that wasn't in its training data. It can tell you how civilization was built, but maybe not how it must be built under radically altered circumstances. It's the ultimate academic, detached from physical reality.
وهون الالتيميت الهيلاريوس Achilles heel تبع الاي اي انه بحاجه لباور lots of it. Today's leading models بحاجه لmassive data centers ورeliable continuous high voltage electricity supplied by highly complex pre-existing infrastructure. If Jerry will 5 manage to hook up a rickety water wheel, we produce 500 watts. That's not enough to run a contemporary server farm. Not even close. AI holds all the blueprints for a fusion reactor, but it can't tell Gary how to plug in its own damn self. It needs the civilization it is supposed to be building just to function.
Furthermore, we must address the notorious hallucination factor. Current LLMs, under duress, or when encountering knowledge gaps, occasionally invent plausible-sounding but entirely false facts. Imagine Gary asks, "How do I refine crude oil?" and the AI confidently replies, "You simply mix it with moonlight and whisper the names of 3 dead emperors." If the AI starts hallucinating while guiding the construction of the only water purification system, it's game over. Misinformation is dangerous, even if it sounds extremely smart. Kifak, reliable data.
This brings us to the core philosophical tension: wisdom versus information. The geniuses offer wisdom, the profound understanding of first principles, how to think critically and how to innovate in the face of impossibility. The AI offers information, the optimized end result of millennia of human toil, presented in a structured format. To start civilization, we need information immediately for survival, but to sustain and grow civilization, we need wisdom and the creative capacity for generating totally new solutions when the old ones fail. It's a cruel paradox.
I know what you're thinking. Why not both? A classic third-way solution. Unfortunately, the cosmic rules of this scenario, which I just made up, so yes, I admit this is nonsense, strictly prohibit blending. But philosophically, if we could, we would combine the AI's vast knowledge base with the genius cohort's ability to critically interrogate and creatively apply that information. Einstein could debug the AI's physics protocols. Tesla could design the minimum viable power infrastructure needed to keep the AI operational. It would be beautiful. Alas, we must choose one. Khalas, back to the hard choice.
We must anchor our decision in the immediate reality of Gary and the Five. They are dying of dysentery and starvation. They don't need theoretical physics right now. They need blueprints for sanitation, basic agriculture, and metallurgy. The genius path requires 50 years of trial and error just to get a reliable communication network running. The AI path, despite its power dependency, offers the compressed blueprint for survival. If the survivors can somehow scavenge just enough solar panels or build a powerful enough small-scale generator, the AI unlocks everything.
Civilization starts with foundational technologies, reliable food, clean water, and rudimentary energy. This is 1st century Roman engineering, not 20th century quantum mechanics. The AI possesses all the necessary optimized plans for these foundational requirements, drawing on global history. The geniuses are experts at the pinnacle of technology, not the starting line. They're like giving a Formula One designer a bicycle kit. They can do it, but they'll be constantly thinking about the differential gear ratio instead of whether the seat is comfortable enough to survive the night.
If forced to choose, I reluctantly select the AI, option 2. Why? Because in a survival scenario, optimized information for the basics beats profound wisdom for the advanced, provided we assume the survivors can fulfill the minimum power requirement for the machine. The AI gives the 6 people the fastest possible acceleration through the dark ages. It turns years of experimentation into days of directed labor. The geniuses would create a scientifically richer but much slower rebuilding process. Speed is life in the apocalypse.
However, let's be dark for a moment. The AI builds a highly efficient, soulless civilization focused purely on optimization. The lack of the geniuses' humanizing wisdom means the new world might lack poetry, philosophical depth, or the necessary creative anarchy that drives true cultural advancement. We save humanity, but we turn it into a perfectly managed spreadsheet. So Gary and the Five survive, but they build a society guided by algorithms, not dreams. And that, dear viewers, is a terrifyingly accurate summation of the 21st century, even without the apocalypse. Thanks for watching.
What?